You ever wonder if there's like a secret formula for happiness? I'm not talking about the kind you get from a great slice of pizza or a day off work. I mean that deep, lasting kind of satisfaction. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into a psychological model that might just have the answer. So let's just start with the biggest question of them all. What really makes you happy? It's a question that pretty much drives everything we do, right? And, it's a quest that is definitely not new. I mean, if you rewind the clock over 2,000 years, you'd find the great philosopher Aristotle already wrestling with this exact same thing. And you know what he figured out? When you boil it all down, happiness is the ultimate goal. It's the one thing we want just for its own sake. Okay, now let's jump forward to a more recent time, to a psychologist with a name that's a challenge to say the least, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. He took that ancient idea and just nailed it. He said we chase after things like health or money or power only because we think they're the ticket to happiness. They're not the destination itself. They're just the car we think will get us there. So, if we all agree that happiness is the main goal, where do we actually find it? I think for most of us, the obvious answer is relaxation. Feet up, chilling on a couch, zero stress. That's the good life, isn't it? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because when Csikszentmihalyi actually studied thousands of people from every walk of life you can imagine, he found something that completely flips that idea on its head. It turns out our best, happiest, most memorable moments, they almost never happen when we're just passively chilling out. No, they happen in a state that he gave a name, flow. And flow is when you are so completely absorbed in an activity that's difficult and worthwhile that you're stretching your mind or your body to its limits. This isn't relaxation. This is total energized focus. So, how do we get into this state of flow? What's the recipe? Well, it turns out it's surprisingly consistent. Across all those thousands of interviews, 5 key ingredients kept popping up, over and over again. So let's break them down. All right, ingredient 1, intense focus. You are completely locked in. 2, you're doing it by your own choice. Nobody is forcing you. 3, and this one is the real secret sauce. The challenge is perfectly balanced with your skill level. 4, you have a super clear goal. You know exactly what you're trying to do. And 5, you get immediate feedback, so you know from one moment to the next how you're doing. Now, when all 5 of those things click into place, something amazing happens. People feel this incredible sense of satisfaction. Time just melts away. Hours can feel like minutes. And you even forget yourself. Your worries, your ego, it all disappears. You just become one with what you're doing. Think of a programmer deep in code, or a guitarist lost in a solo. That is flow. Okay, let's zoom in on that third ingredient for a second, that balance challenge. Because honestly, this is the most important one to get right if you want to find your own flow. So here's the deal. If a task is way too easy for your skills, what happens? Your mind wanders, you get bored. Csikszentmihalyi actually called this bore out. But on the other hand, if a task is way too hard, you get anxious, stressed, and completely overwhelmed. That leads to burnout, and neither of those is a fun place to be. And that, right there, shows you exactly where flow lives. It's in that perfect channel, that sweet spot right in the middle of boredom and anxiety. It's where the challenge is matched so perfectly to what you can do that it pushes you just enough to keep you completely and happily engaged. Okay, so this is a really cool theory, but the big question is, how do we actually use it? So let's take this from just being an idea and turn it into a practical tool that you can start using in your own life. So just take a second and actually think about this. What were the last 3 real challenges you had to deal with? Could be at work, a hobby, whatever. Now, where would you put them on that chart? Were you feeling bored? Or were you feeling totally anxious? Or just maybe, were you in a state of flow? So you see, happiness isn't something that you just find by sitting around and waiting for it to show up. It's something you actively create. You build it through challenge and focus. So the final question isn't just what makes you happy anymore. It's where are you going to find your flow today?